Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I want to thank you guys all for coming back, and if you're new to the channel, welcome. Previously in the other episodes we've covered steering bushings, changing the oil, changing the drive belt, changing the front suspension bushings, and on this video we're going to be covering changing the rear swing arm bushings for the, not quite sure what Polaris calls it, but part of the suspension, because there's bushings that are up in here, here, and down here, and there's actually a good bit of movement to them. There we go. So that ends up moving. There's a little bit of movement up in the top, but what that helps for is when the unit's on a side hill, keeps the body from sliding side to side on the rear axle, or axles I should say. Ended up already jacking it up, so currently it's sitting up on the middle axle and all four rear wheels are up in the air. I went ahead and took the bed off of it just to allow you guys to be able to see easier and allow myself to see easier. And when I start working on making the and designing the, when I start designing the rear winch mount, this will give me more access to it. And before I took the bed off, I paid attention to how much space that I have in this area for the winch. So that way when the bed's dumped all the way up, it won't hit the winch. So I'm going to get you guys moving a little closer and we'll start getting it torn apart. Challenge is going to be they have blue Loctite on both sides of that bolt, so they really don't want those just coming out of there when you're on the trail or something like that. Not too much wear on the brass bushings, but just like the front, that's what's left of the plastic bushings. Seems to be the trick to take one side out all the way and then run it back in and then take the other side out. And now to the next piece. Which same on that one, it's a broken bushing, the plastic part, and then it has the same brass bushing on each side for your side-to-side loads. Alright, this last one is around the shock, so I'm just going to take that off and let it sit down and stay on there. Because this one isn't actually in too bad a shape, but it is missing some of the plastic. And just like on all the others, plastic bushing is gone on the outside. There's a shaft, has a little bit of grease on it, so that's a good sign. That's actually still tacky. Alright, now that we've gotten that all apart, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit and get all these pieces cleaned up, and then when you see it again, we'll be putting it all back together. Alright, we've jumped forward a couple of days. Due to not having the correct bushings for the top, when I ordered all the parts, I ended up missing these on the parts diagram. And just realized it a little late, hence why the video is going to be a little late for you guys, and my apologies on that. Alright, so I went ahead, cleaned all the parts, started putting it back together. This one I already have all the way in with the pin all the way in the middle of it. And so I'll go ahead and show you on this one. It's just like on the front lower control arms. You have your bushing, and on one side there's a little radius, so it's curved. On the other side it's a square edge. So just like on here, there's also a little radius. You can line them up, and then just slide them in. And do the same thing on the other side of it. And there's all 6 of them now. So I'm going to go ahead and put this upper one in just to kind of get that up and out of the way to start with. Which all 3 of these have pins that are all different lengths. The longest pin is all the way for the top. The middle length pin is for the middle, and the short one's for the bottom. And as you run the pin through, it's probably going to want to try and push this one out. So you have to kind of hold it a little bit. And once it goes through, you'll be all set. And just take your bolts on each side. Being careful not to cross thread the bolts. For now, I'm just going to kind of have them started just so they're loose in there, but not to the point where they're going to fall out. And on this, you do have a grease fitting on the bottom and on the top. On the bottom, this can go in one of 2 different ways. And I believe when it came apart, the grease fitting was pointed up. Because if you put it the other way, any dirt and everything coming towards it's going to get packed right into it. And that'll just fill this whole thing right up with dirt. Going to get the top pin put in there too. Sounds pretty tight in there. And on this bottom, we're going to start with this far side again. Alright, now that we have all those in there, we're going to go ahead and grease the 3 grease fittings on it, and then be able to set it down. Thank you all again for joining me on the 3rd video of this series that I've been working on. My apologies for not getting to the brakes. We ended up having a little bit of a delay due to forgetting to order the bushings. If you watch afterwards, you can enjoy the footage of me greasing it, getting it lower down, realizing that I put in this piece backwards and wasn't able to get in there to grease the bottom bushing. So that'll be following this if you want to stay tuned for that. Next week what we're going to end up doing is putting the rear brakes back together on it and getting the chunks of wood out of here so that I actually have brakes again. Going to end up probably cleaning up the brake rotor surface, getting new pads in there, be able to then bleed out the rear brakes provided the front bleeder screws won't bleed nicely. So stay tuned for that, and I will see you all next week. Also, be sure to make sure that you like and subscribe, and if possible, try and watch the whole video all the way through. Appreciate it, and I will see you all next week. Thank you.